All right, Jeff, we're live. We're early.
Hmm.
People our shade are not supposed to be early.
I mean, CPT time has a meaning.
It does have a meaning. It does. So,
Breaking stereotypes.
right, you know, uh, you and I have talked about, being the the most tan guys in the install bay a few times before. So, it's not like breaking stereotypes is going to be like completely odd for us. But anyway, my friend Jeff Smith, I met you 5 or 6 years more than that.
I think I didn't start
2017.
going to DAS shows until 2014, 2015, I think.
Really?
But but I had seen you before, right? So we were in similar circles, but I had never like come in contact with you because being the dazzling young urbanite that I am, I would see
Urbanite.
another dazzling young urbanite on the other side of the building, but he was with the cars that were like really loud. And I'm like, how does he know Tommy? Right. And I'm
Oh, you're
like,
talking about that far ago.
okay, who are those guys? Because they were always the other side of the competition stuff because the SPL guys would be over here. Then those of us that did SQ would be over here, and we didn't mingle much,
No.
right? So, we'd be at the same events like back when Spring Break Nationals, everybody would be at the event, but we still didn't, associate very much unless you were in my area or you were just like, the man, and I had to figure out who you were. But I knew you hung with some people that I knew that were associated with the same sponsors that I had, but I
Right.
didn't know who you were.
Yeah,
Right.
we're Thunder Force and all that crap back in the day.
Yeah.
So, but so we're talking about competition stuff. Let's just break before we get into the heavy hard stuff. You are head Emma guy, or you're
No, I'm not the head Emma guy. So Tom Meyer is the head of Emma USA.
right.
Tom Myers, sorry. He's the head of Emma USA. I was the fourth judge for Emma, certified judge for Emma in the US. So Scott Bawalda from Hybrid and Clifton Keplinger, they were the first two guys to get certified overseas for Emma, and they originally brought Emma over. And then Tom was the third guy to get certified for Emma. And with Clifton taking a more active role in hybrid, I think I'm telling the story correct. With Clifton taking a more active role in hybrid, being sales manager and all this other stuff, he then passed it on to Tom for Tom to take over Emma. And then I had already been with Clifton over in the UK, got certified to judging there, UK finals and everything else. So I had been a fan of Emma for years. Like, dude, I was importing their CD like back in 2002 every year because they had the best music, the best competition CD because they made all their own music, right? They weren't just using, Pat Coyle or Michael Ruff or Claire Marlowe and Jennifer Warnes and all this other. They weren't like Sheffield Drive.
Right.
They were like legit people in a studio with their own instruments and like all this stuff, like making all their own music. So it was super cool.
One of my favorite Emma tracks is the track where they're doing kind of a spatial thing where there's a microphone and they're walking around. You can hear the guy walk back over.
I was just telling somebody about that in Texas.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite tracks. And that track, if you get it right, you have some stuff going on in that car.
Right. So that's Alex, the guy who owns Emma, all of Emma. So they would, like I said, they would produce some really cool tracks. So literally, like you said, here's the microphone, and he walks up to the microphone and begins his speech. Then he gives you direction that he's going to walk 6 feet back and then walk 10 feet to the left and then 10 feet to the right. And then you're going to hear him literally in this space in your vehicle. If, like you said, if you get it right, do some things that it's going to demonstrate a sense of depth and space that you typically aren't used to in the recordings that we have now. So yeah, it was amazing.
So, you judged our Prius, the store's Prius in, it wasn't, I want to say Aggieland because it's so SVR. And I fell in love with Emma at that event. I fell in love with Emma at that event because it most reflects what you guys were doing in the SPL lanes back in the days, where you're getting judged for the installation, you're getting judged for integrity of the install, you're getting judged for the sound quality, all the things that kind of make you a real installer, right? Like,
Right.
I'm just learning to be a real installer here now. So, getting judged by, especially by your peers and guys that know what the hell they're talking about, as opposed to just sound quality stuff, which is purely subjective. So,
right,
the whole thing's subjective, but when you get in a good car, you know it.
Right.
You know it. You get in a bad car, you know it. Yeah. So it's subjective to a point, but there's a reason why all these cars are tight when the judging comes out, right? Because the judges actually know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So before we jump into the next thing, how do you feel about rear fill? I set you up on that one, right?
You totally set me up. Did you hear something? So,
no, I haven't heard anything, but
I am a advocate for rear fill. Have been for many years. So much so that I've been involved with vehicles that people didn't even know they had rear fill in their car. But when you turn it off, they go, "What happened? What was that? Like, what?"
The sense of space went away.
Right, that sense of space went away. Right. So, but yeah, I am a 100% advocate for rears if you know how to set them up and apply them properly.
Okay. So that is the competition side of why you like rear fill. What is the retail reason that you like rear fill?
Okay, so do you? Gears. I think we've told this story between me and this other gentleman I'm about to mention. I think we've told this story for many years now. So when I had my retail store, I was really hot and heavy into the BMW market, right? So with that being said, I got to meet online a bunch of guys who now I'm really good friends with. The guys I had no clue who they were back then, but there was another guy who was pretty much the audio authority on Beamer forums and all this stuff, and he had a business called Avancar, okay, and it was Ken Ward, right? And Ken was great installer, great shop, great work, great products, everything else. And Ken was diehard, no rear speakers. No rear speakers. No, every post was no rear speakers. No rear speakers. And I'm like, yeah, rear speakers. The customer already has there's holes in their car for rear speakers. That's additional product. That's additional labor. That's additional sound or what additional amp channels, the whole nine. Like what? People already are. When you bought that car from BMW, from Ford, from Honda, from Mercedes, it came with rear speakers. Right. Now you're telling my guy they're going to have to delete these speakers and put that money into front speakers to make their front speakers even more expensive than what they really wanted to spend. But now they're not going to get that sound into their whole vehicle. They didn't know what imaging was before they came into your shop. 9 times out of 10, customers don't know what imaging and staging and all that stuff is, right?
A lot of times they don't like it.
So that was my thing with Ken. Like online, I would always tell guys, like, of course we're going to sell you rear speakers. Of course we're going to put, well, this guy online says I don't need rear speakers. And we would get into these little heated battles and we laugh and joke about it now because me and Ken are great friends. But it's like, no, like it creates a definite benefit for the average listener, right? And we sometimes push our professional opinions onto people when that's not what they want. Can you enlighten someone? Of course you can. But what happens when you enlighten someone to the point that they put this whole system in and they like it, but then they go, you know what? It's not so good in that seat. It's not so good back in the back seat, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not saying that you have to put a competition system in every car, but it's definitely something that you can give someone the right platform to build upon to create an environment that they want to enjoy in their vehicle. If when you get done with that customer's car, if they don't want to grab the keys, fill up the tank, and go driving for hours, you did a disservice to that customer.
I can agree with this. One of the things that that I have a new term that Gary Biggs has given me is sound quality dragster. Okay.
Okay.
So if a customer comes into a mechanic shop and he wants a tune up on his car to make it run better or whatever like that, he doesn't make it into a drag car, right? He does the tuning. He might put a new exhaust on it. He might do some wheels or something like that, but he's not gonna fucking take the engine out and go to inline performance and do a fucking turbo build and come back with slicks on the back. So you know that term that he used for building that level of car.
That's a great analogy.
It's a good analogy. It's a good analogy.
Right.
There are things that you have to do to make some of these cars sound really good. Cut out the kick panels, weld in shit. I'm not doing that for a customer. Are you crazy?
Right.
That's the last thing I want to do. So I think we in our industry need to like really kind of divide the enthusiast from the business. And
I met a guy a few weeks ago when we went to MSE, Mark Eldridge's place. He's a sales guy at a store out that way, and they're a big JL VXI dealer and some other brands, and and we got into a conversation. It was a really good conversation. The guy's an awesome guy. They have a good shop. We got into a conversation of like, he goes, "Oh, we sell a DSP to every customer, and we do a 1-seat tune, we do a 2-seat tune, blah blah blah, and all this stuff." And I'm like, "Okay, that's great. That's awesome. That's great that you can do that. Great that you can educate the customer at that point. But is that what the customer wanted, or is that what you wanted to give the customer?" Right. So I'm not saying don't take money out of your pocket, but I'm saying you also have the ability to still sell a customer an amplifier with DSP, no matter what brand it is, no matter what speakers you sell them. But you need to ensure first and foremost that customer got what they paid for in a timely fashion, and it is exactly what knocked their socks off.
So I keep going backwards, but I think it's really important to get a kind of an idea of where you came from. You were involved in car audio in the early 90s, kind of late 80s, maybe. I don't know.
No, I mean, I was dabbling in the late 80s, but officially got in the industry in 90.
Right. So what was, so everybody's got a story. Everybody's got a story of they get in the damn car and the bass was beating them up or something happened. One of my favorite stories is Earl Zosimer's car. I got to sit in Earl Zosimer's car, the first iteration of that car, and it was amazing.
What was surreal for me was the first time I came to your store and it's sitting out in your back parking lot like a redheaded stepchild. It was literally like a homeless person out in your back parking lot, and I'm like, "Do you know whose car that is?" And you're like, "Man, screw that car."
Right. Well, there's a lot going on with that car. Now it's getting rebuilt.
I know. It was a whole story. It was a whole story. But
I'm happy.
So anyway, so my thing was, so growing up, my dad worked on cars. My dad was, as a hobby, my dad was a little mechanic, racer, street racer, blah blah blah. So he built a lot of cars and did all this neat motor go fast stuff, maintenance go fast. And one day I was with him, and he had some guy who was working on a car, and he was like, "Hey, like, I want to put this radio in." And my dad hated doing stuff like that. So he was like, "Hey, put this in the dash of that car." I'm like, "I could turn a screwdriver. I could turn, I could use sockets and crescent wrenches and all these other tools." And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with the wiring? There was like this group of wires I hang off of. He was like, "Oh, just take the one in there out and just match the wires up, match the colors up." And I'm like, "Okay." He was like, "Grab the test light, look for constant power, look for switch power, look for ground." I'm like, okay. So legit, when you turn the key and you saw that radio light up, it was like, "Oh, I did it." Right? That was step one. That then turned into me wanting to take every car apart to see what was in it. Right? This is all late 80s, well before I was in the industry. Now, fast forward to my sister getting an audio system and some window tint, wanting some stuff done to her car. And we go to the store. And when we go into the store, there is a car on the floor. There's a yellow CRX sitting on the floor with all these trophies around it. What is this? And I walk over to it and I look at it. There's all this plexiglass and all this stuff. There's a JL speaker in the back. There's a PPI amplifier. There's an Alpine head unit. And like, I'm looking at this trophy that's probably 4.5 feet tall. And it says 5th place novice, 51 to 100 or whatever it was. 5th place novice. And I'm like, you got a trophy for car stereo? Like, I'm looking at all these other trophies and like that lit my fire. Like, oh my God, there's all this other stuff. And then there's magazines for this stuff. Then of course you're going to every grocery store, every store that sold magazines, and you're just getting all this stuff and you're feeding, there's no more comic books now. Comic books are over, right? It is all about car stereo magazines, right? Collecting all this stuff and learning all this stuff and trying to figure out, well, this isn't what the local guys are doing. This is way better. Like, and then they had the system diagrams. So then you're learning about Cliff Designs. You're learning about Targa. You're learning about LA Sound. You're learning about Orion. Like none of the local shops have this stuff. Like what is, so it was one of those scenarios where that just got my interest like peaked. And then I started visiting the local stores, figuring out who sold what. These guys were the Pioneer guys here over in Hoover. These guys were the Rockford guys over here. This guy was a Phoenix Gold guy. These guys were the Heart Professional and Orion guys.
Heart Professional,
right?
Holy crap.
Bro, this place that I eventually wound up working at, it was called Systems Car Audio. And they were the Heart Professional guys. They were Orion for a bit. And dude, they had like the sick boxes back in the day. They built, that was the first like real Astro van I sat in with a crazy system in it, and that guy eventually sold the business and some other guys bought it. And then I started hanging out, going asking questions there, blah, 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 working on my own car. And finally, it was one of those situations where, here, look what I've done in my car. And they were like, you did this? Blah, blah, blah. And yeah. So I wound up getting a job there. And the rest is history. There was another little job situation before that, but the real job really came from this other shop, Audio Systems. So that really like projected me into where I'm at now, because legit the guy who got me into that store, I still talk to him monthly, weekly. Sometimes he's still in the industry. He works for Matt's Per Audio right now. His name's Mike Hall. But yeah, man, just it's always a different story for everybody, because like you said, somebody heard the bass, somebody saw at a Sound on Wheels, they saw this big Astro van or saw this big truck or whatever else, So, we all have this connection to what brought us into audio and how we all got hooked. So
I think one of the more interesting parts about getting hooked on audio is kids get hooked on all kinds of stuff. Comic books, you mentioned earlier. Some kids do sports and they play whatever. For some reason, certain people got into car audio and they got sick. I am car audio sick. I'm still building cars. I have a sickness. It's the most beautiful thing for me, because I can look back at what car audio has gave me, right? Like,
right.
What the hell would I be doing if I didn't own the store? You know what I mean? I'm not sure that I wouldn't be a janitor. I'm, no real education to speak of other than, what I learned in car audio, which ain't no real education because I haven't gotten my MECP like all you other cool fucks. But I'm going to do it. But I think that we should really appreciate what car audio and Apple have done for us over all these years. Apple's saving car audio a few times over.
Yeah, I was already in love with music. I was already in love with cars and audio in general before I even got into this. I often think about that, and I've had a couple conversations with people like, where would I be if I didn't get into this? I probably would have pursued what I was already thinking about as a kid. I was thinking about, becoming a radio DJ or actually becoming a DJ. Just something involving music at some point, but I did the whole RC car thing. I did the whole skateboarding thing. I did the flatland freestyle thing. BMX racing. still stuck with me throughout my life. I still got a Redline Triple X Pro in my garage, that I ride whenever I can. I haven't been to gate practice or to a race in over a year, so 2 years probably at this point. But I mean, you do all the things that were fun and exciting back then. Like nowadays, dude, you know how hard it is. Like think about how when you first got in the industry and years ago, the demographic was what 17 and 25,
It's the same people.
right? But now they're older, right?
They're just moving with us.
Correct. They're moving with us,
Right.
right? You know how many 17, 16, 15, 16, 17 year olds don't have a license, don't have a car, and could give a about getting it, right? They don't care. You know what they want? They want this. They want a drone. They want full internet access. They want their parents to not give them cash, to give them some money on their Apple Pay, and they can do anything in the world with this. Because
But
I
you're
had to come
missing
see my
one
friends
thing.
in a car.
You're missing one thing that I think is really important, and it's cosplay and all that cartoon magical stuff.
Yeah.
And that, my friend, is my thought is where we could get some guys interested, because there's plenty of installers that can build all kinds of shit, right? We build you have the right install, theme for Magic or whatever, and you take that to some place, kind of a pimp my ride sort of thing. You can get those guys to get attracted to the actual build, and then with the build, I mean, just in my head thinking, but
So take 2 steps back and think about this. In what we do right now, right? I remember when you started talking about building your Lexus, and now you've worked your way up to the Prius, and I know you have your other little project that's coming along, right?
oh, it's gonna be a monster.
I know it's gonna be
a
badass.
monster.
But think about this though, right? When we try to get more people involved in what we do as far as cardio competition, they get excited about SPL because they can be involved with it as a spectator. They can see it, they can hear it, they can feel it from outside the vehicle, just being there as a spectator. Whereas when you come to a sound quality event, what happens? Cars are closed, doors are closed. You have no idea what they're doing inside that car, whether they're, doing a line or laughing and joking or whatever. You have no idea what's going on inside that car, right? Then, of course, you start to see these cars with the really nice installs, the trunk's open, the inside's open, and you see all this stuff. And that's when you go, wow, that brings people in. But then they're like, well, can I hear it? And they're like, well, hold on, I'm about to get judged. Where the SPL guys are just over there with a wall of amps, wall of woofers. There's
right.
And we don't really have you remember back, we used to go cruising, legit windows down, music up, it was fun to be in a car. You got to listen to your music and share your music, with other. I was telling my youngest daughter, I was telling her a story a few weeks ago about bass music.
DJ Magic Mike made the car go boom.
Right? Magic Mike, Techmaster EPB, Bass Boy, like all this stuff. I'm like, we legit drove around listening to bass music that 60% of the time had no vocals, had no hook, had no chorus. It was bass music.
Pissed off voice coils.
Right? Rattling everybody's windows. You could hear, dude, I'm like, that was a whole category that really doesn't exist anymore.
So I miss cruising too. We didn't really have a big cruise spot in Montgomery County, Maryland, because the police didn't play that shit, right? But we would go to the beach and we cruise up the beach, or we go to Myrtle Beach and we cruise there. Going back to your example of spectatorship, there was plenty of spectatorship back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day there was, yeah.
I think this is what I think. I think that guys like me and guys like you that are going to compete, there'll be 3 cars there and we'll compete, right? We're gonna go at it, right?
It's gonna change. It's gonna change.
I hope so, man.
So let me give you a little bit of insight. It's gonna change because so now, and as long as SPL and sound quality are separate events, it's gonna grow smaller. It's gonna grow, but it's gonna take longer for it to grow, right? But now that we are trying to implement install back into sound quality competitions, right? Because now you really have something to show off. You're not just showing up with your trunk closed, showing up with wires everywhere, right? Look at this whole clean wire charge, right? Now let me show my wire. Where before it was like,
Right.
yeah, under the seat, yeah, just all this other stuff, right? You could show up with a car that was completely filthy, wiring messy, as long as it sounded really nice in the front seat and did this and did that, and you had a fuse that was the right size under the hood, that's all that mattered, right? Showmanship went away. Car show presentation stuff went away. So that's where Emma comes to the US. And that Emma is, dude, if you ever went overseas to go see how they do the shows over there, it's a party. It's a straight up party because you have sound quality competition, you have car show competition, right? You still have multimedia competition. You have what they call ESPL, where you legit have these pro audio cars. Pro audio cars. Open the door, open the trunk. You still have to play sound quality music from the judging CD. 25 feet, 50 feet, and I think it's maybe 100. You have this distance that you have to listen to the customer's car, the competitor's car. You stay behind the car. You walk over so far to the left, walk over so far to the right, judging this car just like you would sit in the driver's seat with regular sound quality music. Then they have one song that they get to play for judging pleasure or whatever it is, their own little bonus track, and they have to perform.
What do you mean?
Dance, sing, flip, or do what, dude? Like, dude, I'll send you some pictures and some videos. Like, you have to perform. It's a part of the showmanship of the event when you're in that category. Dude, there's lights, fog machines, all this stuff. Sometimes there's a stripper pole. I mean, dude, it's crazy. And the first time I saw it, I was like, this is crazy. But then I thought about it. You know how many kids and people that gets hooked into this? Right? Because they get to see all cool car, loud, nice system, tons of bass, and the aspect of bringing people in that have no idea about what's going on in that parking lot with all those cars with the doors closed and people standing around like this. You have no idea what's going on. Right? So that was one thing about like Mecca. When Mecca first came around, Mecca did the whole Mecca Kids, where they got people's kids competing. They had, all these different SPL classes and all this other stuff. And it was pretty cool. ASCA had all that stuff back in the day, but they took, not the kids, but they have like RTA, SPL, sound quality, installation, all that stuff. And they took a lot of that stuff away in order to make it less about the checkbook cars, right? That were crushing everybody else in all these other classes. See, in Emma overseas, it's done by dollar amounts. Your classes are broken down by dollar amounts. So they have the retail value of all these amps, all these speakers, all these processors, yada. Doesn't matter about your installation. It does because of certain modifications, but it's broken down upon the dollar amount of the value of your system.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I think you and I talked about it when we did the thing last summer with Prius. I'm 100% all in for Emma. You're not going to catch my black ass doing any kind of performing in front of or behind the car.
Yeah, they haven't got to that point yet about bringing that over here. But dude, think about how many. Hold on. Have you ever built a Pro Audio car in your shop?
No.
Okay, but you understand the concept, right?
I understand the concept. It's just a louder sound quality car, really.
It's and what's crazy though is a lot of these Pro Audio guys don't know about good sound, right? I have some really good friends that are in the motorcycle audio game. Dude, that is like crack in the 80s, man, crack in the 90s, motorcycle audio, right?
I
These
yeah,
dudes, these dudes dump so much money into these bikes. But like you look at like Carlos, right? We know Carlos. Carlos does an amazing job putting his shop out there, doing all this work, and then all these guys go to these competitions. I know some guys that were diehard. I ask competitors with me back in the day. You know, my good buddy Troy Milner owns a shop out in Conyers called Audio Concepts. Dude, they build the baddest bikes in the Southeast. Adam, when I tell you these bikes, stage, tonality, I mean, these bikes are amazing. And they go to these shows, dude, and kill everybody in their classes. And these bike events are getting sponsors like how competition used to be back in the day. You used to go to finals back in the day and win, you know, $1,000, whatever, blah, 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 for winning your class and stuff like that. These guys go to these motorcycle events every other weekend or every weekend, and they're winning $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 for these they go multiple times a month to these contests.
So I guess the question is like there are guys that are look, we'll build a bike in my store. Are we going to build what Carlos builds? Probably not. We're going to do some, you know, ARC stuff, you know, a lot because I don't have the experience. We could. If we started getting enough of them, we would, right?
Right, exactly.
But the reality is we're in Montgomery County, Maryland. That shit ain't going to really happen, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to do it for your environment or your market. But I'm just giving you the example of where that type of competition is now is where the car competition used to be and where those of us want to get back to. The spectators, the large venues, the prize money, the manufacturers involved, all that stuff. We want to get back to that.
But you guys are also working on stuff, and I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to, you know, tarnish. You know, there's stuff that you and I have talked about that would be huge, meshing the real industry with the other industry. They're not the same. They're not.
Right. They're not.
They used to be one and the same, but now they are not the same. But what you guys have planned, if you guys can get it to work out, is going to be awesome. And I really would love to see, you know, the dance battle between shops again. You know, like, oh, Absolute Electronics is coming. Yeah, they're coming. Oh, fuck at it, bro. I'm gonna bring out my new blah 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 with my USD wave guides and blah blah blah. You know.
Yeah, you remember that's how it was back in the day. You had this shop versus this shop, and it was all about the fun and everything else. But then it turned into the competition teams, right? It turned into kicker competition group against, you know, Thunder Force. You got the Image Dynamic guys. You got JL Audio Team Wave. You got Orion Team Extreme. You got Rockford Team America. You got all the manufacturers used to really believe in the competition scene. You still have some guys that get out there, you know, some manufacturers that get out there. I mean, hands down, you should know this answer easily without even thinking about it. In my mind, there is one company, well, actively right now, let me just say that. There is one company that's probably the most active company in stereo competition.
ARC Audio.
ARC, 100%.
ARC Audio.
100%.
It's so let me just tell you about ARC Audio. And this is really not about ARC Audio. This is about Aamp, this whole thing we're doing. We're just a little bit off course, but we got a little bit of time. We'll go back and do the Aamp stuff.
Yep.
But what I like about ARC is that if you go through their catalog of products, they have solutions for a lot of stuff. And some of that stuff, you gotta have a really weird problem, and they have solutions. But I digress. That's not why we're here. We're here to talk about Aamp. And I apologize to the Aamp people that may look at this later. Oh, come on, Jeff. Anyway.
Hey, this is about me, man. Take this off.
So anybody who's watching this, a lot of these people that we're going to have on these shows are going to be people that I know, and we're going to have conversations like this, and then we're going to get into a little bit about some of their new products and how they work for a retail store or how they'll work for somebody who's an amateur, guy in the front yard or whatever. But the main thing is that a lot of this is going to be fun and not so trainery. If that makes any sense. Nobody wants to sit through a training because I know I don't. I've sat through one of Jeff's trainings. I won't do it again because I fell asleep. I fell asleep because I was partying the night before. Anyway, let's just really quickly get into the Aamp stuff. You and I were talking before we got actually online, and you were telling me about new harnesses that you guys have that are fucking badass.
Yep. So it's a pack part, right? And pack has traditionally always been the installation source for products to help installers get their jobs done easier. Solutions, right? And with the evolution of vehicles, data networks, and things like that, we forged so many products for steering wheel controls, for radio integration, for amplifier integration, for all this stuff. We used, video integration back in the day, all this other stuff, right? So PAC has always been the installer's friend. That was the thought process. Be the installer's friend. Parts for installers by installers, right? So now we have these LPH and APH harnesses, right? And what these particular harnesses are that you and I were talking about, they are for non-amplified vehicles. For most scenarios, they're for non-amplified vehicles. And they're T-harnesses. T-harness. What does T-harness mean? Plug and play into the radio, into your factory wiring so that you don't have to hack up a vehicle in your shop. What these harnesses are...
I'm sorry. I think this is really cool because some of the applications are going to be intimidating cars, Teslas and stuff like that. So that's the really important part that I really think that.
So this particular product, these LPH harnesses, do, like, no joke, they've only been out like a year and a half or so, and we're already into V2 of it, right? Because as soon as we got them out, we saw a few challenges, but then we saw ways we could make it better, right? And then we have some product guys in our company that really understand what installers need and want, right, in a lot of these applications. So what these harnesses do, like I said, they T-harness into the head unit's wiring and into the OEM wiring, radio side, vehicle side, and give you 4-channel high level from a non-amplified head unit. They will give you ground and constant. Some of the vehicles provide switch wire, 12-volt switched, and remote output. In some scenarios, it depends on the vehicle platform. But this legit gives you an easy way to wire in a line output converter. It gives you an easy way to get 4-channel high level into a DSP, right? So imagine you have a Toyota Prius coming in that's a non-amp, non-JBL Prius, or a Tacoma, or a Camry, or a Honda Civic, or a Honda Accord. You know it's coming in the next day. So you go grab a LPH TY02 for a Camry, and you grab 20 feet of speed wire. You're going to put the amplifier on the back seat or under the seat or whatever else. Now you legit have created a semi-vehicle specific harness for that vehicle to plug and play into. You already have your ARC DSP. You already have your audio control DSP. You already have your Helix DSP, and you're going to go high level right into it. So you can legit set up and pre-wire 60% of the wiring for that vehicle.
Right. What I think is also interesting is you guys tackle, again, cars that are really difficult. We, not too long ago, maybe last week, we had Lexus GS in with the Mark Levinson system that you can't get into. There's no Aamp Pro won't work, right? Ask me how I know. And it's fiber over copper, right? Like we just use one of those harnesses directly into the DSP. We were able to we need to sum some stuff because the twiddlers and the mid bass and all that crap.
Right. That was an APH harness because it was an amplified vehicle. So APHs are for amplified vehicles. LPHs are for non-amplified vehicles. Traditionally, when you have 4-channel high-level variable audio out in order to actually get the signal that you need in the vehicle. Who tunes a better DSP, Jeff or Ada?
I would probably say Jeff. Jeff has been doing a little bit longer than I have. He's
I'll
got that.
take that. I'll take that.
I don't know. We'll have to see one day, though. I'm not scared.
Okay, check this out. Check this out. Quick story time. Over in the UK, and we haven't done it here, but I keep pushing Clifton because Clifton used to run SQology, and he used to be the guy running all the shows for us. So when him and I were over in the UK, there's pictures of this online. They did a competition called the SQ Tuner Challenge. The jail rep brought his vehicle with full system in it, and 5 teams got together, and they all had an hour each to tune the vehicle and save the preset. Right? Then at the end of the night, I was given 5 score sheets, and I had to go through and listen. I didn't know which team's preset was which, and I had to go and judge the 5 presets.
Wow.
Dude, it was so cool. The only thing they could do was EQ, crossover, and time alignment. They could not set gains. They couldn't do all that stuff because it was already done. Right? So it was amazing. It was such a cool thing because you actually finally got to not only show your skill, but learn different people's tuning techniques and learning how they do X, Y, Z. I thought that was so cool. And I've always said, like, dude, we should do stuff like that at K-Fest. We should do things like that at SVR. We should do like these things to get people involved and to allow them real world scenarios where they can learn hands-on.
Yeah. So one of the things about DSPs and stuff like that even for me originally, long time ago, when you opened up H701 and you didn't open it up because you're using a damn controller, but you looked at it and you're like, what the fuck? You don't know, right? One of the things I think on a car that you're looking at and you see everything in there about bitch flat, right? And it's not hard. It's not hard. It's a video game. Like you have things that you have to hit to get it where it needs to go, and then you can go in there and then you can make adjustments. And the more you do that, the better you get at it. And the better you get at it, the more fun it becomes. Right. It becomes a lot of fun when you're able to like make a car do something just based off of your manipulations. You know what I mean? Like that's for me, I'd rather tune a car than work on a car.
100%.
Because you're listening to music the whole time. You're having fun. You know what I mean?
100%.
Moving image, and it's awesome.
Yeah, dude. Someone asked me like, "What's your favorite DSP?" I'm like, "There's a few. Like I don't have. I work frequently with 3 particular brands, but I don't really have a 100% favorite. There are key features in all of them, but they all can get to the same end result.
They all do the same thing.
It's just the finesse of getting it to that end result, right?
I think that it's Apple versus Android. It's the same thing. All the phones text message, all the phones Facebook, all the phones do all that. It's the GUI, the skin that's on top that when you're touching a button that makes a difference.
Right, exactly. But
I wish that all DSPs had ARC software. And it's not because I'm an ARC fanboy. It's because I like sliders.
Okay. For the EQ?
For the EQ, for phase, for like everything. So
they
actually have something now.
Yeah. Their phase is a checkbox. Their time correction is a slider. Their EQs are sliders. Their crossovers. Yeah. Crossovers are slider. Yeah. I work with the ARC PSA Pro software all the time. I'm really good friends with the shop. I'm in Florida working this week. I'm
OTS.
really good. Yeah, OTS, right? And Those guys sell a ton of ARC as well. So I'm very, very familiar with the ARC stuff. I've had ARC stuff in my car testing now because I was extremely intrigued by the ARC series amplifiers with the internal DSP card. That was super intriguing to me, right?
Mhm.
So I'm like, hey, Fred, like, hook a brother up.
Okay, brother.
Yeah. So
And
yeah,
they're
we
super nice guys too. I love Fred is the
yeah,
nicest.
they are.
So is
Dude, I remember seeing Fred like many moons ago when he was, you know, running Image in his Honda Accord way back in the day, still an installer. You know, he showed up with he had a generation Accord before mine, so it was either a 94, 95 white four-door Accord, slammed, you know, big huge Image system in it. You know, it was really nice system. Um, Brian I didn't meet until years later down the road. Um, but yeah, great guys, man, great guys.
yeah.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward. Let's rewind back a little bit. Let's go to uh, audio control. That is now part of your responsibility. Now, are you training for that stuff too, or is that
Yep.
still Matt?
I actually just did me and Matt, both Matt Palumbo, who actually came with the acquisition of audio control. We we're having our internal summit here at the office in Clearwater. So we had all of our inside sales guys and outside sales guys here for our what we call our Phantom Summit. And we just did 2 days of some really intense audio control training, along with some training from some of our other brands. We got some really neat and exciting stuff coming down the pipeline. And I know you did a lot when Bennett was there with audio control. You did a lot of audio control stuff. So let me just say this: you've touched a few audio control DSPs in your day, and on a scale of 1 to 10, the overall experience was what?
Do you ever see that Dave Chappelle skit where he's like fifth, 5?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So again, we go back to answering the question where all DSPs kind of do the same thing. There were some things that were happening with the software early that was hard for a retailer. If you were a retailer and you were serious about your business, you just couldn't keep going. You know what I mean? And I know they solved all those problems by now.
Bro, when I tell you, if you look at the software now, man,
I'll open it up. I still use the DMRTA. So DMRTA.
Oh, that's next.
Fix the scale.
That's
Fix
next.
The scale.
That's next. DMRTA is next on the upgrade list. Dude, the engineering team for audio control are amazing guys. And I don't want to say this in the wrong light. The audio control as a home audio company is here, right? Audio control as a cardio company is here, but dude, it's about to take off, right? Because now we have so many facets of the company working together that they didn't have before. That was one of the benefits of bringing them into the Aamp umbrella, is that Aamp allowed certain things to happen to help take them to the next level, right? Do you remember before Alex Kamara came to audio control? They were just Epicenters, Model 11s, Model 90s, 2XS, 4XS. They were just all that stuff, right?
And some of that stuff they still sell. So
right. So, but it had been stagnant for like so many years. Then they were just falling off, right? Then they introduced amplifiers. Right. Do you remember before that, they went from the analog EQTs and EQXs? They created the DQX and in DQS.
The weird thing with the little screen had a little screen on it. And
yeah, that was their digital EQ.
Yeah.
And then they had digital crossover. They were two separate pieces, right?
Right.
So Calvin and I built Greg. I can't remember Greg's last name. Greg was the national sales guy for audio control back in 2002. Homeboy brought his brand new vet from, I know you're a vet lover, brought his brand new vet from Seattle all the way to Atlanta for Calvin and I to build this vehicle. So audio control had they just launching these new two DSP processors, but dude, it was full Genesis amps and speakers and subwoofers and all this stuff. Calvin did this crazy, stupid build, and I'm the behind the scenes guy, wiring all this other stuff, setup, tuning, and all this other stuff, helping him get this car built. And the guy worked at audio control like another 6 months and then left. Right. But it was an amazing car. But that car, helped give us even more notoriety and things like that. But they've been increasing their capabilities as a company for years. So they went from analog EQs, crossovers, line drivers, things like that. Then there was the introduction of the digital products. Then it finally became the amplifiers, right? Then now it's the amplifiers with DSPs, right? So the evolution of their products and the way that it took a new owner to take them to a different level. It took some new blood with Bennett coming in at that point in time to take them to another level. Then you got like the next guy coming in to give them another push was like Matt Palumbo, right? Coming in to give them another little push. Matt's a great dude, very knowledgeable, comes from a retail background, and Matt's a good people person, right? Now you bring Aamp into the equation to give them better funding, better reach, better distribution, better resources. And bro, when I tell you it's about to get silly, it's about to get silly. Audio control is about to take off and do some really neat stuff.
Well, I think that's really cool. What I also like about audio control is the tech support is solid. It's always been solid. You're not going to get that attitude that you get from some of the other manufacturers sometimes. Same thing with Aamp, and the Pack guys. They all are very helpful, and I am an idiot, and I call you whenever I have something because whatever.
A lot of people do that, dude. A lot of people call me and I tell people all the time, my job isn't tech support. It's just that I'm accessible when they can't get to tech support. Right?
A lot of times I think that our problems are really small, you know what I'm saying? But they end up being 10-minute problems. And I apologize for that because you need your 10 minutes sometimes.
Dude, it trust me, it doesn't bother me. Like I tell people the amount of calls I get about, hey, does this fit? Does that fit? Or I'm having a problem with this. And like I had a call from a guy today. Was it today? No, it was yesterday. It was after work. It was probably 7, 8 o'clock at night. And he called me to go, hey man, let me just run something by you. I'm thinking about creating a system in a Dodge Ram for customers to purchase. And he just wanted to bounce ideas off of me. Right. It wasn't even this doesn't work or I don't know if this fits or not. It was just I just want to get your opinion. I mean, you typically call me when it's, hey, I got a vehicle. I need to know if this piece works. Or, hey, do you know if when this is going to be in stock or whatever else, and then every now and then, we call and joke about XYZ that, whatever drama is going on in our industry.
Right.
But dude, my phone rings all the time. I bet you if you see me reaching over, it's because my phone is like blowing up with like messages from like 30,000 different people. Even today, I'm in the middle of doing presentations in front of like half my team. Dean's texting me, Dean's calling me because he has a tech problem, right?
Yeah.
Almighty Dean, right? Everybody
we talked about that problem. Dean. I had the same problem this week and I didn't know that was a problem.
Right. But literally, within, if I could show you the text chain, so it started at 11:08 a.m. By 6:34 p.m., he had new firmware that fixed his whole problem.
He told me he had firmware. He told me that you guys had built him a firmware today. I think that's really cool.
Right. Dude, so it just depends on how certain things work. So that problem we had heard about previously, but it was being explained not by the shop owner or whoever. It was being explained back to the engineer who designed the product the wrong way. So I walked down the hall, literally went to Dorian and was like, hey, Dorian, this is the situation, yada, yada, yada. And dude, he was like, give me a couple minutes. Clickety clack, 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 clack. Email it over to Dean, see if it fixes this problem.
Right.
Take another example. So this is why my phone calls, my text messages, my emails, my Facebook messages, I have the ability to reach a lot of people really fast. And I joked even at KFest Vegas, like my Google machine works faster than yours, and I pull stuff up and read manuals back to people, right?
Right.
But like Jim Rogers, he's a really good friend of mine. We used to work together back in Atlanta. He owns a shop out in
Conway, Arkansas.
Arkansas, Audio Innovations. He sent me a screenshot today of the dealer portal to order product, and a amplifier kit that's a 4-gauge amp kit said that it was a 4-aught amp kit, right? And he's like, "When did you guys start making 4-aught amp kits?" And I'm like, "What?" And I looked at his text message a little again, and I'm like, "Oh, there's typos in our dealer portal. There's typos on the website." And I legit got up, walked down the hall, went to go talk to Phyllis, the lady in our company who is the queen of all websites. She's amazing. And I'm like, "Hey, Phyllis, we got a problem with this part. Blah, 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 blah." Fixed it on the spot. Didn't take 2 minutes. And I literally text Jim, "Refresh your screen now." He goes, "Cool, it's fixed." Dude, that fast.
Right.
Right? So calling me and reaching out to me, dude, for all this stuff, it just happens. I'm just accessible. And unfortunately, I'm the type of guy that my phone is stuck to me 24/7, and I respond to people.
I think that's awesome. I really am so excited that you came on. We got some time left, and I wanted to touch on a couple things.
All right, cool.
When's your car going to be done?
My car?
Your car.
The project?
The project.
Oh man, dude, I legit, I don't know, man. I see you doing all this work on yours. Cody, my mechanic, has mine right now, getting it roadworthy, mechanical wise.
Mm-hmm.
It's a process. I don't have a point to make. I don't have a point to prove. I don't have to make a demo car for my shop. I don't have to do any of those things. So I get fired up when I go to an event, to a K-Fest, to a Master Tech, to whatever. I get fired up when I go to those. When I go to a competition, I come home and get fired up. But then I got this thing called work. Right? I'm in a hotel room right now, right? 3 of my 4 preludes are within 20 minutes of me right now.
You have 4 preludes now?
I have 4. And they're all the same gen. They're all the same color. They're all the same.
So I'm going to tell you something that a very wise man told me one time. He told me that every night you need to work on your car for 5 minutes. I don't know if you know what this man's name is. His name is
I know.
So
I know.
5 minutes makes a huge difference.
It does. And I find myself working on other people's cars every day for 5 minutes, or every day for 20 minutes, or whatever else. But yeah, my project's, it's coming along. I'm collecting some stuff. I've sent so much product out to get recapped, to get respun, to get reconditioned, because it's a lot of old school gear. It's just near and dear to my heart for that period correct type situation that, you said earlier, like we're getting older. And I keep telling people, I'm not getting older, dude. I still legit feel like I'm 25. But I keep reminding people and telling stories about me getting in the industry in 1990. And then I look down at my phone and it says 2023. And I'm like, sweet Jesus.
Yeah, man, it goes fast, bro.
Bro, like legit, like you just like, I don't feel like I'm 47 years old, bro.
I don't feel like I'm 48. I want to share another story.
Go for
it. That was near and dear to my heart, because I think you tell it the best. I mean, it's a story about us and our first finals together. We're sitting at a table with all of your friends, a lot of your old competition friends, and we were getting a drink that changed. I felt like it changed your life.
It changed my life for sure. It changed my life for sure. You know what's super funny is that I have introduced, I'm going to call it our drink.
Our drink.
I've introduced other people to our drink, and they're just like, what in the hell? And I'm
It's
like, bro, like
delicious
I'll never forget. My boy turned me on to it, and I'm just like, man, it's one of those situations that for me, I have to be in the right environment in order to enjoy it.
because you're going to be up for a long time.
Right. But you're gonna be like,
Right.
right. So, but yeah. So when you told me, hey, what are you drinking? I was like, oh, Crown and Coke, Jack and Coke, Hen and Coke, and you were like, oh, I need to give you a Hennessy Red Bull. And I'm like, what? Brown and Red Bull? And then you got me one, and I've been hooked ever since, bro. Hooked
So
ever since.
it's not a drink that I'm going to go out and have at dinner.
Right.
It's not a drink that I'm going to have if I'm going to drive. It's a
Right.
drink that I'm going to have. Actually, I don't drink and drive. It's not. It's going to be a drink that I'm going to have if I'm out of town and the boys are around,
Right.
and it's a little bit early,
Right.
and I don't feel really like partying. I'm going to have that drink that's going to kickstart. So all you guys out there, if you are adventurous and you want to try something, try yourself a Red Bull and vodka. It will change your life. But
All right,
don't do too many.
let me give you, let me give you my little secret sauce. So, this is non-alcoholic, but those nights when you have to work all night,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you have those nights when you go, I need to be laser focused. I so I I I don't veer off into left field very often. I'm not that dude,
Mhm.
right? But one day I tried something just on a whim. Nobody told me to do it. Nobody taught me to do it. It was my own concoction, and I call it a bomb. Right?
I'm scared.
Have I ever told you about this?
No, you've never told me about this.
It's a very unique recipe. It has to be done in a perfect 50-50 mixture in order for it to work properly. It is, whether it be a 16-ounce cup, 20-ounce cup, 32-ounce cup, whatever it is 50% Mountain Dew, 50% Red Bull. Bro, when I tell you I have worked non-stop without blinking, just on the go, like not even tired, just, I'm telling you, man, a bomb, dude, I'm telling you, you give me one of those and I'm just, we got to put 4 days worth of work into 12 hours. Let's
Bomb
get it.
time.
Let's get it.
So
Right?
what's funny is one of my favorite drinks in the entire world is actually Mountain Dew. But I don't drink Red Bull unless I'm drinking with that Red Bull Hennessy. I will not drink it. So I'm gonna try it. We have a customer that literally tips my guys in Red Bull. So we have stacks and stacks of fucking Red Bull.
Oh,
so if
nice.
you ever come to Absolute Electronics and you need a Red Bull, trust me, we got you covered. Because
Yeah, dude. Whenever you got to pull one of those all nighters when you're doing those crazy bills, like I've seen the Prius. I don't think I ever said anything to you about the Fox Body Mustang you did. That was it black?
Yeah, that thing's a nasty
Dude,
monster, bro.
That thing was bad, bro. That thing was super cool, and you could see the thought process that went into that build to keep it within the cosmetics, within the boundaries, within everything. But then you threw every installation technique that I think you've learned in the past 10 years into that vehicle, bro, and it was beautiful.
Thank you, dude. Thank you. I'm not really known for my fabrication prowess.
What's the joke? Adam, do you install? Right?
Yeah,
Is that the joke I used to see? Yeah.
That's the joke.
Can you fab? Is that what it was?
Yeah. I think most people that know me think that I'm a store owner and like the Nazi of my store, but I am the get down guy. I try not to toot my own horn because that's not sexy, right? But a compliment like that coming from you means a lot. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. There's a couple things about when I came to visit your store. that I really was like, dude, this is a really cool store. First of all, just like anything else on the internet, you don't really realize how big or how small someone's shop is, right? Just from pictures you see randomly on the internet. But your car being on the floor, that was always super interesting and super cool to me, right? Then um, when I walked in and saw all the music all around the perimeter, I was like, that is super cool because it makes me feel like these guys love and appreciate music to a different level. So when I see that album, when I see that artist, it's going to spark a memory, spark some emotion, spark something that's, going to make a connection. I can only imagine me walking in there how a consumer feels walking in there
So
and seeing that.
if you go to Spotify, a customer made a playlist off of that. It's called the Absolute Electronics
Hmm.
Spot. And to me, this only happened a few weeks ago. This is the first time. I mean, we've had that up there for 3 years almost, and it was the most. So all that music up there is all mine. It's all chosen by me.
Nice.
There's uh, Pink Floyd. There's um, Tribe Called Quest, Biggie. There's the Dixie Chicks, Metallica. It's every genre of music that you'll catch me listening to any day in
Right.
any of my cars, my truck, or whatever. But you're right. I want I wanted to portray my personality in the shop and give people the opportunity to feel comfortable. And thank God that it kind of worked out because um, an expensive idea, just for a prop in your store. It wasn't, there's no salesmanship for that thing. It's just
Right.
kind of advertising your passion.
Yeah, I mean, because you have to think about the first impression you give someone, right? And the way your store captivates your customers. I see things that you do, and I've watched certain things happen. Um, do you have? I mean, your shop's kick ass. The store culture, the way you put stuff out online, things like that. I know. I don't see him doing it as much right now because I see he's taking care of his business, but Ethan was really big and really still hardcore about his business. He's kind of stepped back a bit, to take care of home and the shop and things like that. He's not really out on social with the rest of us. And I often tell myself, like, dude, how are these guys getting cars built? How are these guys getting sales done? How are they getting their business taken care of? And they're spending so much time online, right? And it's because there's a whole team of people supporting them that we know nothing about. Nothing about.
My guys are like completely could care less about Facebook. They could care less about,
Right.
you know,
Like, bro, you get to work like 12 o'clock every day.
yeah.
You
I don't
know?
think you've never been in my shop when I'm there ever. Never
No.
happened.
No. Like the day I came to like stop by, like, yeah, it was a whole nother situation. But I get it. I totally get it because I'm also the type of guy I get more work done when no one else is around me at work. 100%.
I I am nothing without my guys. So they know how I feel about them,
Yep.
and I know how they feel about me. Sometimes it's not good, but the reality is it's a symbiotic relationship, right?
Yep.
They need me to do certain things for them, and I
Yep.
need them so I can do all these things that I want to do with my life.
Yep.
My life in car audio. Uh, I would love for anyone that wants to come visit us at my store. All right, so let me say this, and I'm going to say this. This is going to be the most PC way I can say it. There are stores that you've gone to or that talk about themselves that are not what they say they are.
100%.
Absolute Electronics
100%.
is probably the closest to authentic that you're ever going to see online. There's many people that will come and be like, "Oh, it's exactly like it looks in the pictures." It's not super clean. It's clean, but it's not spotless.
Yeah.
It's a working shop.
Yeah.
We working shop, and we have a janitor. You know what I mean, to try to help keep it
Yeah.
up. You know what I'm saying? But we have really. You can also tell what a story is from the reviews. We have great reviews. We have customers. We have bad reviews. We have everything everybody else has. And the one thing I always want. One thing I always want to be as someone who's online giving advice or anything like that is I don't want to put anybody else in harm's way.
Right.
I don't want to tell you something that we don't do, that we don't have experience at, that you should be doing, that's going to hurt you or your family or the family of the people that work for you. So
right. That's what's up.
Yep.
Man.
So we got exactly to 9:05, exactly 1 hour. So I'm gonna let you either you can tell another story because I got another story that I could feed you that
I mean, dude, I got a million stories, but I want to tell you about a product real quick, right? A quick plug for a product because you haven't seen it yet, and you probably have not gone to the PAC website to learn about this product.
Should we go on the PAC website now?
I mean, you can if you want. It's called Can Pro.
That's what I was talking about earlier.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the harnesses, bro.
No,
the LPH harnesses and things like that. You're talking about Can Pro in the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, so you gotta be more specific.
Well, you said it's just a harness. I was like, how the fuck are they gonna get all this shit out of a Tesla with a harness?
Yeah.
All right. So Can Pro. Really important that this is. I'm glad that you mentioned it.
All right, Can Pro. So you've been around PAC long enough. You know what a TR1 is. You know what a TR4. You know what a TR7. You know what a TR12 Pro is, right? So
they need to
this
bring
is
TR12 back, though. By the way.
So what now?
They need to bring that back. By the way.
I need to bring what back?
TR12.
Say it again. Say it louder for the people in the back.
Bring back TR12. It is the cheapest Arduino ever.
Bro, let me tell you, the amount of dealers who ask us for TR12 Pro now, you got to remember, we brought that product out years ago and they sat on the shelf. So as a manufacturer, you got inventory dollars caught up in it. You got inventory space caught up in it. You got all this development costs. You got all these marketing dollars. And the product sits on the shelf. What do you do?
Yep.
Right? Yep. Then as soon as you do that, you got people outside rooting through the trash. Oh, we need that. Oh, we need that. Oh, we need. Where were you at a year ago when we had 5,000 of them available and only sold 300? Right? Anyway, Can Pro. Can Pro is another T-harness system that currently is going to be released. We have them out now. It's only been released for 3 vehicle platforms: Tesla, Model 3, Model Y, Ford that connects under the steering column, and then Ford that connects, I think, in the front or rear of the console. I can't remember. It's two different places because it's 2 different platforms. And what Can Pro does, it is a T-harness into the vehicle's data bus system. Then that module, the CP1, allows you to have 9 outputs: left turn signal trigger, right turn signal trigger, reverse trigger, illumination, ignition, VSS. I don't know. There's 9 outputs, right?
So, one of the important things about this product is if you ever did on some of the Ford vehicles with a single filament taillight bulb, you would have to run wires all the way to the front where there's a dual filament bulb whenever you needed to get right, left, turn signals. So I think that's important. The other thing is, and I'm gonna get in front of this argument for a lot of people. It's gonna cost. Shut up. You don't buy it.
Right.
It's the right thing to do. Buy it for the cost. Buy it. Put it as part of your estimate and sell it it's going to make your job easier. It's going to make the customer's experience way better.
Dude, I'm so glad you're saying it's going to make your job easier. So let
Right.
me let me just tell you how important this piece is, right? Do you know how many people are still afraid to touch a Tesla? Install shops.
I don't understand why. It's a car.
It's a car, but still, right? Dude, there's still customers that don't do DSPs. Still shops that don't do DSPs. There's still shops that don't do active systems. They feel that you have to put in a 5 channel amplifier on every car and still put passive crossovers in every car, right? There's shops that don't build boxes. Not saying that that's wrong, but they won't they won't evolve. They won't evolve. So quick story time. My best boy, my homeboy from brother from another mother, a marketing guy outside of our industry. His name's Brian Young. Known Brian and his wife Ann for years. Brian was my first customer at my retail shop. Brian was a customer. We met online back in the elite cardio days. Did you ever run the ECA days, right? The
Uh,
forums and all that
so,
stuff.
so I hate computers, and I only got a computer when I got a laser.
Right. So from ECA to for DEMA and all that stuff. So met Brian years ago, and Brian's a true diehard marketing guy, right? Still, we talk daily most days about just different stuff in audio, but he helped me with my business website with some other things. When I was invited to come and do a speaking part at CES in 2006, I was on this panel called the Install Bay of Tomorrow
Mm-hmm.
in 2006. The title of my presentation was Evolve or Die. We need to embrace do-it-yourself customers. We need to embrace vehicle integration. We need to embrace big box businesses that we can be friendly with. We need to embrace this customization of vehicles getting harder and harder and harder for us to work on. It was this whole process of evolve or die. If your business doesn't evolve, if you as a technician doesn't evolve, you're going to die. You cannot continue to live in this industry right now in 2023 expecting to put in 6.5s and 6x9s with a head unit with a $40-$50 kit and harness every day. That's not going to happen this day, unless you live in an area where all they have are 88 Camaros and 88 Blazers and Honda Civics from 90 to 95. That's you're never going to live.
To speak on that, I'm going to tell you something that's going to be very kind of weird to say out loud. So where I live, my physical home, cars are 10 years older than they are in Montgomery County. So it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time. So
Right.
Get in front of it. There's so many things that are going on in cars nowadays that we you just have to pay attention. The manufacturers are making parts, Kicker and Sony, and you guys will probably, when you guys do speakers, I'm sure that's around the corner. When you get certain cars in your bay, you have to match. If you're just doing a speaker upgrade, you have to match what you took out to what you're putting in. So if there's a twiddler in the dash, don't be putting no tweeter up there, bro. It's not going to sound right. If there's a 6.5,
100%.
and if there's 6x9 and a twiddler, you put a 6.5 inch component set in there, you're going to get a pissed off customer because it's not going to sound right.
Unless you're putting in a 6.5 that's disguised, an 8-inch disguised as a 6.5.
Right.
Right.
GB60.
Right. Yes,
GB60.
know it.
So
You know it.
So
but yeah, that's the whole thing, is that there are all these parts being designed by manufacturers to make integration easier. Like you just said, where you live, the cars are 10 years older. We have a study. We spend millions of dollars market research to get all this stuff to figure out where we need to go with products. So we know that we specialize in cars that are the average 12 to 15 years on the road, right? So when you wonder why we don't have a product for a 2023, we don't have an Amp Pro for a 2023 Lexus GS 430. It's because we're going to get there. We know it needs it, but give us a minute. We're still servicing this other clientele.
Well,
Dude, it's 2023 and we still don't have a Amp Pro for, I'm sorry, we don't have a radio replacement module to keep a Bose amp in a 2014 Silverado.
yeah, you're right. That car's like evasive, right? But I'm gonna say
But
this:
we're working on it.
the Lexus that you just talked about, the 2023 GS, whatever the fuck it was, right? You know why you don't have an Ampro for that? Because the doctor that owns it still owns it. It hasn't gone to the used car lot and gone down through 3 or 4 owners. The second owner is probably still not going to do anything. The third owner is going to be the guy that's like, hey, this Mark Levinson amp is no good. What can I do? Right. So it takes time for the cars to.
Right. So typically when that 2023 rolls off the lot, they're doing, our industry now are doing different things to a lot of brand new vehicles. Not saying this happens all the time, but the typical upgrades on a brand new car in our industry right now are window tint,
dash cam,
radar detector, dash cam, amp and sub. Right. So those are the things that we're predominantly doing in our industry to a brand new vehicle. Then you get that one dude that buys a brand new Porsche Macan and wants to gut it all out and do everything. Then you got to do your research, grab some speakers from here, grab some amps from here, grab an integration piece from these dudes, and then you're going to make it happen. Right. So that's the thing about it is the people within our industry who are truly in our industry, right? There's 2 different sides of our industry. Those are those who are manufacturers, and there are those who are retailers, our customers, distribution, brick and mortar, big box, right? It is up to us as manufacturers to read the market and kind of see what's needed out there. And then it's up to us to present it to you. But then there's so many of us, there's more of you than there are of us, but you guys have to take the initiative also to learn about all these devices that are out there and figure out which one works best for you and your store to give you the right way of getting into a vehicle, the right way of having reliability into a car. And you're not butchering a car. So we're creating all these T harnesses now. We have all these data bus interfaces. Dude, like, you remember when we used to sum signals? Every car we're slapping in
I
device.
I think that was a dark time in the car.
But there was no other way to do it.
Right.
But now, fast forward, we got Amp Pros, we got Maestros, we got AX DSPs, we got Zen modules, we got all these other Mobridge pieces and all this stuff. So now that stuff, this is a loose term. Now these are the digital LOCs of our day now, right?
Yes. The hard part is, can you guys just take all your LOCs and throw them in the garbage? Because what's annoying to me is I would go to a trade show. This is a trade show I did years ago, but it still holds true. And as far as I can see, is, we had a class and we talked about, finding the right parts and DSP and Amp Pros and AX DSPs or whatever. And then when we literally got out of the class, the guy walks up to me and goes, "Hey man, I got a 2013 Dodge Charger. We have LOCs everywhere, and this car just won't be right." I almost lost my mind. Because why?
I lost my mind the other day, and I'm not trying to put anybody on blast. I legit lost my mind the other day, and I have this picture on my phone because I had to legit show it to people at the office today. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Let me turn the brightness down.
I can't see what I'm looking at.
Dude, that's 2 JO XD V2 amplifiers.
Uh-huh.
Memphis component, Memphis passive crossovers. This is in a 2023 new GMC Yukon or something like
Oh,
that.
I see them
Bro,
now.
there are
3 line level.
4 to 6 or 5 SNI 35s in this
Holy
vehicle,
crap.
bro. And I saw the guy's post, and I had to, I, I legit understood
Pain.
his situation, right? His pain, because he said, "I know there's better out there, but I installed what I was given." As an installer, as a technician, he installed what the salespeople gave to him, and he legit said, and whatever his name is, I don't know. Kudos to you, dude. You made it happen. But when there is, and when you come to one of our pack trainings about integration, this is one of the things I talk about as soon as we start putting old technology into modern vehicles. How that is the train wreck waiting to happen.
Right.
Dude, you put 4 or 5 SNI 35s in a vehicle. Dude, come on. Are you serious?
Look, I went to how can I say? Okay, so there's a shop I went to, and when I go into a shop, I try my hardest to be humble and to be not be like trying to be Mr. Know-it-all or whatever, because I don't know everything. So I walk into the shop, and the installer is putting an amp in a Lexus, and it's an Infinity, and he was like, "Dude, I'm just trying to get low level, like it's set on the thing, and it's for the older car." And I was like, "Dude, it won't work." I was trying to explain to him how the voltage isn't. You're turning the volume, and nothing's happening. The voltage is staying the same. So
Right. He's got a fix. He grabbed the fixed level signal.
he got the fixed level signal because
Right.
that's the customer asked him to get low level input. So they shipped it with a bass knob.
Wow.
They shipped it with a bass knob.
Wow. Yeah. So someone in that post, when that guy made that post on Facebook, someone made the most beautiful statement that they could possibly make. And it wasn't someone being a smartass or anything else like that, but they literally said, "This is why salespeople need as much training as technicians do." Because you as a salesperson, dude, I wish Elias was on here, because sales, you bring Elias, Jason Cook, and Robert from Perfectionist. You get all the badass sales guys, and there's all these classes that we offer when we go to our industry events, K-Fest, Knowledge, Master Tech, and CMA just had their event, things like that. Those sales classes need to be just as packed as the fab classes, right? Because if your thought process in a brand new 2023 GMC Denali, a brand new 2023 Camry, a brand new 2023 Corvette, if you're still putting in SNI 35s, bro.
Yeah, but to the point, I mean, I bet you guys still sell a shit ton of them. You know what I mean? Like the manufacturer's not going to stop.
I work for that company who makes them.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
But it's not about that. That's and I don't want to start a tangent, but just because we make a product doesn't mean you have to buy it. Just because we make a product doesn't mean you have to put it in a 2023 vehicle. Just because, like, Jif is not going to stop making peanut butter because Jeff's allergic to it.
Right.
Right. I know not to eat it. So
Right.
it's those things that educating these people. If your system design thought process, you took the time to sell this guy high-end Memphis, what is it? It's XIV, their high-end series of products.
Viv.
You put that much money into front speakers, 3-ways, I think, even. And then you put good money into high-quality JL XD V2 amplifiers, did awesome wiring and all this stuff. So you sold this guy some decent labor. Are you telling me you couldn't have gone down from whatever those Memphis speakers are, you couldn't have gone down to a next tier. You're telling me you couldn't have gone down from XD to JX amps or whatever, so that your integration part was the right piece.
But there's two parts to this. You wasted a ton of time. So you could even sell the same stuff and install it faster, save the client labor dollars.
Yep.
Make the profit dollars.
Yeah.
Be in the same spot.
Dude, pick a different amplifier. Pick a different amplifier and go channel for channel. Just re-amplify the car channel for channel. I think most retail shops don't understand channel for channel. They don't understand bringing in a high pass signal, bringing in a mid range signal, bringing in a mid bass signal, bringing in a center channel signal, and just re-amplifying it, because when someone comes in, they typically want a few things. They want the system to be louder and they want more bass. Right. They didn't ask for imaging. They didn't ask for staging. They just want the car to be louder and have more bass, which is what most factory systems lack. Now, can we add some better EQ? Yeah, we can. Can we do these things to tonally make the vehicle better? Yes, we can. But then when we start pushing all this other stuff on them that the customer really did, can they develop an appreciation for it? Of course they can. But like we said, a lot of times they come in not even asking for that. And we give them our sound quality dragster, right? So that's a great dude. Me and Gary Biggs know each other. I'm a straight jack that one from it.
That's literally the best. I mean, if you think about it, you're not going to be. No one goes to a speed shop and goes, "That's not true." There are people that do that, but there are less people walking to a speed shop, a traditional speed shop, going, "I want to drive my car here and I want to tow it back.
Right.
I want to tow it everywhere I'm going to go." There's less and less of those guys.
Yeah, 100%.
Let's answer this one question. I'm not Dean, but we'll try. I would say the pricing needs to be more upfront as well. You get a complete system, your 5-star quality. You ain't spending $2 to $3K. It's just $1K to integrate the factory radio.
Yeah, I get what he's saying. 100%. You have to be upfront with the customer. That customer came in. The customer's always going to be the best poker players, right? They know how much money they have to spend. And they're going to be like, "Yeah, I want to get this done for $500." You're going to be like, "Sir, there's no way we can get this done for $500." All right, cool. I could probably do it for like $1,500, And then you're going to be like, "Nah, $1,500 might be your day's labor."
Right.
I mean, you can't be afraid to. They came to you. Now it's up to you to be the expert in educating your customer. You got a $80,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 vehicle in my shop to make it sound better. You're not about to grab a LA Sound system in the box and put it in this vehicle, right? You remember those LA Sound $799? You got a head unit, front speakers, rear speakers.
You used to have the display. It used to be the display with the box and the amp and the
Like, bro, you're
dating
not putting that in a 2023 vehicle.
You're putting dates on us, bro. You're putting dates on us.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go for a couple more minutes, and I'm gonna waste your time a little bit more.
Go for it.
When you build a car for Jeff Smith for yourself, what are your goals? What are the so we talked about what a customer might want, what a customer doesn't want. Are you a deep stage guy? Are you like total tonality? Are you a guy that needs to hear the space? What do you build a car for?
So right now, my Camry has, because I keep changing stuff out, I have a pretty decent system in the car. I'm going to build a car that is going to stage and image and sound as well as I want any car pulling into the lanes to do. But I am going to go to preset 4. I am going to change my crossover points, and I am going to wham down the street.
Which one of those are more Monday morning And what's more,
Monday morning, I'm gonna have imaging. I'm gonna have staging. I'm gonna have great upfront bass, the whole nine. Now, when I leave work, it's gonna be Bonita Applebaum, Tribe Called Quest, preset for sub level on 15.
yeah, for some reason, the first time I heard upfront bass, like a good solid upfront, and not even an upfront enclosure, just a just I'll never forget it. It was actually a reps car that Nick had tuned. Nick wouldn't get it tuned, and I got in that fucking thing, and I was like, "What in the fuck is going?"
Bro, 9 times out of 10, you know, from inexperienced end users, consumers, they hear bass going by and they're like, dude, that's awesome. That's the joint right there. I want that right there. But when you get in a car and you actually experience amazing sub bass to mid bass transition, and it's actually more mid bass that's more fun than anything else. Like Matt Palumbo and I were in my car today, and we were driving from the office over to where we had our little event tonight. And he goes, there is nothing more satisfying to me than a mid bass driver just kicking me in the gut. Right?
I want the blend. I want the blend. I don't want to hear
it's the blend, but it's still he's a mid bass guy. My old Accord that I won a world championship with and did really kick ass with for lots of seasons. I had dual MB Court QSD 60 6.5s in my doors, mid bass driver, ton of cone area, ton of power. Dude, I had sick mid bass. And then I had two 15-inch drivers, custom drivers, MTX
9500s.
I had 7,000 series at first, and then I had a custom set built for IB. And dude, it was nasty. It was nasty.
So 7,000s, MTX 7,000s, MTX 9500s and 7,000s are probably two of the only way I can even say it is brutal. The bass was fucking brutal.
Yeah.
There's only one other sub from another manufacturer that I would say was close, and that's the Rockford HX2.
HX2s were awesome. Yeah. HX2s were awesome. I sold when I worked at Cartoons in Atlanta. We were a Rockford dealer, dude. We sold a ton of HX2s. But I'm going to tell you, I mean, don't get me wrong. I know where I work, but I've been in this industry a long time. I've only been with these guys for 9.5 years. No disrespect to Aamp whatsoever.
Only 9.5 years. Only 1/3 of your entire career.
Right? So my hands down all-time favorite subwoofer. I can, from a retail standpoint, I can make it sound good. I can make it blow your head off. Did so many of these things at our retail store.
W3.
Excuse me?
W3.
No.
Oh, what?
You're close. You're close, though. 13W6.
13W6. So I can kind of understand that. And I think if you had multiple W3s, it would do things to it. Okay. W6 version 2.
Yeah, me too.
Probably my favorite sub of all time.
Yeah.
How about the old Boston Oval?
The SPG triple nickel?
I never played with that.
Dude, that sub was awesome too. It was really good. But dude, I'm telling you, 13 W6s. So we did a install for a guy who was a really good customer, really good friend who wound up becoming my business partner at one point. We did his Dodge Ram Viper truck and standard cab Dodge Ram Viper truck. 3 13W6s behind the seats.
Damn. Bro, blow through.
In the cab behind. I'll send you pictures behind the seat in the cab.
That's hardcore.
Manville and I were talking when we were designing this thing, and he goes, box design. We kind of talk, and he goes, "What are you going to do for power?" I said 2,000/1s, and he was like, 2? It's like, yeah, I'm gonna do 3 coils on one and 3 coils on the other. He was like, okay, cool. Right. He got it.
Yeah. Right.
Once I did that vehicle and customers could hear it and his homeboys could hear it and bro, I bet you we did that many more after that. But,
Damn, that's
bro,
nasty.
3 woofers number 1 when JL came out with that whole design, that was just ingenious. And
The dual 6 ohm
right,
thing.
dual 6 ohm. I mean, but then even since then, like I still preach 3 woofers to a lot of people, whether you're doing 3 4 ohm drivers to get down to 133, 3 8 ohm, 3 dual voice coil, dual 4 ohms, series them up, get 3 of those down to 2.66, whatever it is, 3 woofers just works as magical. I'm a huge Kicker fan also. The square shallow drivers from Kicker are amazing. The L7Ts.
We have a
Love
car.
those things.
I have a build right now with those subs. It's going to be
Dude,
fucking
those little subs are awesome. I mean, dude, it's just one of those things when you find a woofer that you can really work with and just do some amazing stuff with it. Like there was also back in the day, we did a ton of the 5500 squares, from MTX, the 7500 squares. We did a ton of IDQ 10s, 8s, 12s, and 15s.
So the IDQ is not 100% dead.
No. I'm talking OG
Understood.
IDQ V2s.
Understood. The closest living relative to that
is an ARC Series 12.
Sits are nasty, bro.
Yep.
They're nasty.
Same scenario, right? You talked about TR12s coming back. Right. Fred and Brian bring back the ARC Series 15s, bro. I'm telling you,
you're the second person. You're the second person to talk about that this week. Brian Piper was the other person talking about that.
ARC Series 15s, bro.
So my favorite woofer that no one ever heard was a USD 1260. It's a
USD Pro 1260?
Pro 12. No, not a Pro. It was just 1260. So they had the Pro Lyric and the Pro stuff that was really high end. They had like a little lower line. That subwoofer I had on a Hyphonic store, man, I'm telling you what, the next time I had bass like that was out of an MTX 7000. Nice. And that was years later.
Nice.
One of the best subwoofers ever. They got stolen,
So you remember we had a conversation some many moons ago about when you were trying to find products. I don't forget what build you were doing, but you were trying to locate some older tri plates and tri ovals and all that stuff, right? Some JL stuff, right? So in my quest of getting all this stuff for the Prelude, right? My Prelude project, I have 3 mint condition 8W6s. I've had them had the surrounds redone. The stickers on the back have been redone. My local Signs by Tomorrow, a lady named Dawn that owns it. When I walked in there and I was like, all right, Dawn, check this out. I want these because the magnets were all scratched. I mean, the sticker on the back, that's the Chrome JL logo and everything is all scratched up and everything else. And I was like, I need this logo to look just like it came off the assembly line day one, where it says 8W6 at the bottom. But then it legit has my name. It says Jeff 8W6 Smith, limited edition, 92 Honda Prelude, going around the circle. Dude, it's black and chrome. The whole, dude, it's dope.
Well, I got to see the car, bro. Like, I know you've accumulating products. I'm not sure if I helped you.
That's why I got. Remember the Alpine steering wheel we talked about? I showed you the pictures of my Alpine steering wheel.
Should I go get mine?
I'm in the hotel. I can't get mine. Mine's at home.
All right. So this is probably, and Jeff, you helped me get this without even knowing that you helped me get it. I'm gonna go get it. Give me 2 seconds, guys. It's gonna take half a second.
All right.
That was my cardio for the day. Oh, so This is a part that is so rare. I don't even know how to even. I was looking for this part for 15 years. And
There is nothing sexier than that part right there.
I got the box.
Yeah. Custom Momo steering wheel combined with Aamp. So it took me longer to find the hub adapter than to get that part imported in from Japan.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that is
Look at that. Look at that.
pure sex. And this guy's brand new.
Yeah, man.
So
Yep.
I'm still doing it. And this is one story house. This is not like I'm old. So this steering wheel, and it's got buttons for the horn. This thing is so sexy, you guys. It is probably the crown jewel of my collection of shit.
Yep.
But I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna put it in my car.
Yep. So, bro, I have an entire Digimax system.
Damn.
So 7618, 3681, that steering wheel, like the whole setup. 5957S. I have two 5959S. Dude, I got so much Alpine parts. Like, even for the other Prelude that's going to be like a daily driver runaround car, I have a 7915 with a 30 EREG 180, not 180.
So wait, it's only old school if you have the happy face curve on your.
I haven't even set it up yet. So, but it works. Dean lasered me out a piece of plexi and everything to go into make the kit. I posted the pictures of it a few times in some of the old school Alpine collectors groups and stuff like that. But yeah, man, products like and I know that this is a old man thing now, right? The fact that we collect old school car audio and we're passionate about that stuff. Like I can't imagine being someone that's going to, and I know these products mean different stuff to people along the way, but just think about it, bro. There's going to be somebody one day that's going to be like, I used to have the audio bond woofer with flames on it. You know, somebody's going to be like, you know, I had this and that. I had a Soundstream Human Rain, you know, just all these other little weird things, you know, but it's, man, old school Alpine, old school PPI.
Well, I'm a PPI guy. I have
old school JL, old school Soundstream, original Thunder amps. Man.
The original Thunder amps. Wait, you talking about the red ones, that the PPI ones? Or are you talking about the?
No, those are Terminator amps.
That's right. You're right.
Terminator. Right. So you had the half ohm stable red ones, and then you had the regular 4 ohm stable blue ones.
Right. The Blue Thunders.
Then after that, no, that wasn't Blue Thunder. It was still Terminator. You just had reds and blues. You had the ones that were high output, right? This is when they were all built by PPI back in the day.
Okay, so wait. There was PPI series amps, and then they had the black gold amps.
The black gold amps were PPIs also.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So you had the black gold amplifiers that were the newer version with some different changes in it that were the same as a
21,
like a PC 2150.
Yeah.
Right. They were like those, because if you ever looked at the boards, the heatsink was more of a rectangle, really nice, smooth, where PPI had the kidney bean style heatsink,
right.
You know, but they were super sexy too. Those PC amps were just awesome. And then they broke off and went on to do their own thing. But dude, those Thunder amps were just sick. The first 2300s, 2160s, 4320s, 4160s, 280s.
Dude. 2300 was probably about the bee's knees, bro. It had ball. It was the best way I can describe a 2300 that I can describe it. It sounded beautiful, but it would fucking squash your head like a little peanut if you put it on I mean, that thing had
and then they dropped the 225 HO.
Right. 225 HO. So, do you remember Brantley Waits?
Yeah.
He was okay.
Yeah.
So he had that it was like a handicap van, but it wasn't a handicap van. It was an SPL fucking monster. And we had built
Yeah, yeah. It had the extended roof on it. It was white. When I first
Clippers.
met Brantley, he was friends with Joe Zolano. But they had another shop. It was called Ultimate Audio because it was Brantley, and then they had the blue truck. But he set the world record at Spring Break Nationals that one year with JL 15W6s.
That was before the Civic. This is well before the Civic. So this is
well before the Civic.
This is well before the Civic. But this is when the Civic was being built. Like when all that stuff was happening,
Okay.
we were building the Civic. So we had built this customer a truck. It was 615s, 3000 series.
Oh wow.
We were playing with efficiency. Well, this is my.
Yeah.
I was always
efficiency. I get it. Yep.
So this poor guy, he's crushing people, and then, here comes this white van versus this guy with,
all these short, stocky dude.
Yeah, well, yeah, the dude looked like he was going to beat you up if you lost, so you may as well lose. But
Brantley and Martin. What's Martin's last? Martin's the other dude that worked with him
at
Ultimate Audio.
Oh
yeah, Brantley Waits. The other dude, Martin.
I thought his name was. I thought the shop was Waits Audio, and then it changed to Ultimate Audio.
No, I think it was Ultimate first. Now they're all a part of Elite Audio. Joe Zolano, him and Joe Zolano teamed up. So they're out in Lexington, South Carolina. But before it was Waits Audio, it was Ultimate stuff. But yeah, so he had JL in the vehicle first, JL and PPI, and then he went to Southern Vega Strokers. And was just crushing people.
And that's when he started. This kid cried.
Really?
He cried, and that was it for him. He was done. I felt bad. I felt so bad for him. But then I went and got drunk, and I didn't care anymore.
No.
Anyway,
Jeff, US Amps in that van at one point. I can't remember when, but yeah.
Yeah, it was Strokers and US Amps.
Yeah, Strokers.
Whatever happened to US Amps?
They were out of Florida, I think, at one point, out of South Florida.
And then they changed their name to something else, and then they're gone.
Yeah, I don't know. US Amps were super crazy. My other homeboy, Jonathan Wall, he worked with me in Anniston, Alabama, sound effects. Jonathan was at Spring Break that year as well. He had a Blazer that was crushing people, and his VLX 400 took a crap on him, so he had to put a different amp in. And he lost, some dB and didn't make it to the next round or whatever else. And then like the following year, he rebuilt it and we put all the new Generation X Hyphonic stuff in it. And it was just, those amps really hard to deal with. But it was still really
talking about the ones with the X card on the bottom?
Yes.
I have one of those.
Yeah. Dude, do you remember the Falcon, the Hawk, and the Eagle?
The Best Buy brand.
Bro.
The Best Buy. But those weren't Z amps.
Huh?
Those weren't Z amps.
No, they weren't. Dude, those amps were so efficient. They made so much power. They were just amazing. And then, dude, we sold so much Hyphonics. When it was the Zeus was the red subs, the red artwork, the red surround, and then they had the Olympians that had the purple surround.
Oh, you're talking about the 90s Hyphonics.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, 90s Hyphonics. Yeah. No, Gen X didn't come until like late 90s.
Yeah,
late 90s. Yeah.
97, 98.
Yeah, late 90s. Gen X was like then. But
Gen X,
you'd always hear the stories like, oh, my boy got a Colossus, blah blah blah. You'd be like, oh, okay.
But bro, I want a Colossus. I want a Colossus, but I need a Colossus like I need another fucking flight of stairs in this house.
Yeah, I feel
Colossus is I just need to get one because it's my, fucking, this big. So. All right, we went way over, dude. I appreciate you, Jeff, for taking your time. I know it's a Wednesday. You're probably been working all day. I know you've rushed down to.
Bro, I'm legit in my hotel room, man. I'm about to figure out what to eat for dinner.
Right. You can find a
Anytime,
steakhouse.
man. You told me you want to do this. You told me you want to do this. I did Brian's podcast thing the other week. I was supposed to do old fashioned podcast with Gary Bell and Schaefer the other week, and I had a little family issue I had to deal with. So I'm gonna get back with those guys and get it rescheduled. But hey, I appreciate you asking me to get on here and kick it with you.
Well, you're like super famous right now, bro. Like you're the buzz right now. Jeff Smith. You got your own T-shirt. I'm surprised you got your T-shirt.
I'm another guy, man. I'm another guy. I'm just some dude, man.
You've been a very good friend to me, dude. I appreciate you for all the help you've given me along the way, the guidance.
Anytime.
Telling me, what we do when we win stuff. All right, man. Thank you so much, Jeff. Have a nice day, friend.
Later. See you, man. Later.